Ahi, chapter 38. Saturnastra, chapter 38. The King's Hospitality. For the following exercise, Melusine pointed to some straw dummies and she ordered Ahi burn them. Do what to them, Ahi? Do it or else, snapped Melusine. Ahi flapped his wings, and when he rose from the ground for a few inches, one of the guards of the tower shot his wing down with a ballista. He landed on his side and he started laughing as he usually did, and he took the arrow and he nibbled at it, and pointing at his trainer he said, "If I wanted to escape, I would have done so already." "If you went escaping, what were you doing?" inquired Melusine. "I wanted to find a lighter or a torch to burn the practice dummies," said he, pointing at the dummies with the ballista arrow. "You don't breathe fire, but your mother's Flaminka, she breathes fire. Heck, all dragons breathe fire. Why can't you, or do you never bother to learn?" said Melusine, exasperated. "I can't breathe fire. I have tried many times," explained he. "So your breath, what is it made of? Does it have any offensive properties?" asked Melusine, extremely disappointed. "It depends on my diet. Most of the time I spew out carbon monoxide, and if I start drinking water for a week, I can give you boron tribromide. Feed me enough days in gasoline and I might be able to breathe fire, but only during very rainy days, though I can't guarantee I won't blow my own face up in the process," said he while pointing at his face. "I see. Do you have any poison, slush, or saliva?" asked Melusine. She had never encountered a dragon that could not breathe fire, and space dragons could produce flame hydro. In space there is no oxygen, and even if there was, the fire would take a spherical shape due to the lack of gravity. And since oxygen could be drawn into the point of origin, the fire would always stay inside the dragon's mouth and could never be shot out. Over time, space dragons developed other offensive capabilities which did not rely on dragon flames. "Poison, bite, and slush," answered he. "And have you ever bitten anyone, and how long does it take for a person to die from your poison?" asked Melusine. "Even in its gas form, my poison liquefies people's internal organs in a matter of seconds. In its liquid form, it is more corrosive than battery acids," explained he. Melusine folded her arms and parted her lips, and she mouthed, "So that's how it happened." And then she said, "You fought the dragons in yourself, right?" "Yes, though they didn't give me much of a choice." "So you can't fight at the very least, so go beat at the dummies and tell them limb from limb. Fight like you mean it this time," she ordered. If it will amuse you so," said he, rolling his eyes. And he went out to the first straw dummy, and he had the size of an adult human, and he was wearing a makeshift armor. And he took the straw dummy by the shoulder, and he tossed it to the sky, and then he did the same thing to the other. And minutes later, they crashed to the floor a yard away, and the force of the fall caused the dummies to fall apart. "I defeated your dummies, satisfied," said he, pointing to his victims. "I was expecting a little bit more finesse," commented Melusine, and Bersame whistled and yelled, "Well, he got the job done, Mel. Not even Bean could survive a fall from that height." So, he just threw the dummies into the sky, and then they just fell. As one swift way of killing something efficiently, just dropped them from very high up. By now it was noon, and based on his irritability, she guessed that he was hungry. And hungry dragons tended to be less cooperative, and she said to Ahi, "Well, that's enough work for now," and she started leading Ahi back to his cage when she heard the king yell, "Halt!" And turning around, she said, "Yes, my king?" And Ahi seems pretty tame, and instead of having him perform cheap politics, we need to get him out to kill on command. And he said this, and he made an allocution gesture, and this gesture was one of his new innovations, and in obedience to the gesture, one of the guards yelled, "Bring out the prisoner." And the prisoner was a strong man with a long mane of hair and beard, and he was wearing tattered rags, and he narrowed his eyes as he came from the Cyclops wing. And he did not resist. He knew his executioner was long overdue. And he was brought before he, and Bersame stood and pointed at the prisoner, and then he glared at him before ordering him, "Kill him." "Why?" asked he, giving Bersame a sideways look. "You don't need to know why. All that matters is that you kill in order to do so," he said, descending the steps. "Killing is a sin, therefore I will not slay him," said he. Laughing, Bersame said, "Well, son, it's a little too late to be worrying about going to hell, and you already messed up, and I doubt not killing this guy will keep you from going to hell." And he narrowed his eye, and he opened his mouth to say something, but no words came out, and he had a Bersame from head to toe. And the king regarded him coolly, and he was used to this sort of reaction, and he was already prepared to fight at him, barehanded if necessary. And he sat up on his back leg, and he folded his arm, and he closed his eye, and he tapped the ground with his left leg. And it was just one of the many visual signs that he was finally starting to lose his patience. He swept out the door with his tail, and then Bersamin said, "Oh, no, you don't." He was gone, and there were faint after image of all of the directions he had taken. And Bersamin looked around, and he saw a strange bird map behind one of the idols of the fountain, and upon closer inspection there was a swirl in the air, and it was the same swirl produced by this mirage, and the only difference was that this one had not faded away. And Bersamin put his hand into the Fata Morgana, and he found as he got his hand out, and it was covered in sand-like substance. And he said to one of his soldiers guarding the prisoners, "Get that lifeline tied to one of the statues, and depending on where the teleport spell leads, we may still be able to fetch Ahi." "Yes, sir," said the soldier, and the soldiers went to one of the weapon stands and acquired a lifeline, and he tied it around his waist and around the base of the largest god statue fountain. And it was the statue of Barasa, and Bersamin pointed at the strange mirage, and it flickered even smaller than before. And with all his might, Bersamin took the size of the mirage, and he yanked it open, and a torrent of shimmering-looking sand poured out, and the interior was pitch black, and when the soldiers went inside, the darkness swallowed him whole. The sandy tomb, while enveloping the darkness, he noticed faint spores rising from the ground, and the spores had faint blue hue, and they emitted their own luminosity. And he lighted a lantern he had in his possession, and as the yellow he always relied on his lantern, and as soon as the light came, the strange light faded away, and the sandy tunnel had lost its strange hues, and he saw in the ground the faint footprints of the escaped Ahi. And based on the spacing, he could tell that he was in a hurry, and he too a hurry had he been less dim-witted. And this temporary past were always unpredictable, and they could crumble at any moment. And a few tunnels lasted an hour, and something held this tunnel together, and despite being a sandy nature, it was lasting longer than usual. And the soldier felt the rope behind him grow limp, and he pulled his line, and he was not surprised to see that it had burnt away. And in the other side, Bersamin watched the faint mirage fade away, and Melusine asked, "Why do you send that soldier to his death?" "I would have followed after him, but my instinct told me that it was a bad idea. A pity, he was so obedient. Only after I sent him did I realize where he was headed," exclaimed King Bersamin. "I suppose I should count my losses," said Melusine, shaking her hand, and she added, "So where did that portal lead?" "It leads to a bad place, and back in my youth, I tried scouting that place, and I barely escaped with my life. And the place eventually sunk to the ground, and all of the entrances were destroyed in one time, and from time to time, temporary paths manifest, or someone digs them out by accident," explained King Bersamin, shuddering. He left Melusine aside and walked out to the entrance of the audience hall, and he pushed the large portal open and entered the residential area, and he dismissed Ahi from his mind altogether. It was pointless to try to give chase to someone that could walk such a mysterious realms without fear. And with any luck, Ahi would never return to his kingdom in order to be a bother to him. Alright, so that's the end of that chapter. Bye-bye.